This is The Heat Source, the podcast where we learn everything we can about hot sauce, one bottle at a time. We are your hosts, Mike and Matt, and today we're trying Chev's hot sauce, Butter Chicken Habanero. Let's heat up. Welcome back to The Heat Source, where we learn about new sauces weekly, one bottle at a time. Today, we are trying a brand new sauce, a sauce that I tried at Goat Fest last year in Kitchener, Ontario, that was hosted by Goat Fest, or Ginger Goat himself. We're trying Chev's hot sauce, which, full disclosure on this episode, this is the second time we're recording this episode.
So, about 8 seconds into you starting the first time,
Yeah.
I thought, man, my screen looks a little different than last time. As you're recording the outro after like maybe an hour and 10 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, he didn't hit record.
So, in the words of the I was going to say the late great, no, the very alive great Jack Black, this isn't the greatest episode in the world. This is just a tribute. So, it was a good episode. It was fun.
Yeah, that was the one time I'm like, I didn't stutter, didn't clear my throat. I felt good. Everything's flowed smoothly.
I think,
And then I'm like, oh
I
my
think
God.
so. We've realized that your clearing throat trigger is something with the electronics when it's on, that red light blinking, and you're like, something
I'm allergic
something
to it.
doesn't
Yeah,
feel right.
the electromagnetic waves.
So we're recording a second time. So we've already tried this sauce. We've already scored this sauce. We're going to try it again. We'll still talk about it. We'll be a little less surprised, but the good news is it's a really good
Something tells me it's going to be
it's a really good sauce. So it's at least one where it's like we're not forcing ourselves to try it again. The only negative was we had to wait a few more days before finishing off these bottles in our respective homes because I had chicken primed for this sauce. So we'll get into.
I finished mine that night. I have no sauce here.
Do you really?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm gonna try mine. You can talk about it. I didn't realize that you already demolished it, but I don't blame you.
I was so frustrated at myself just looking at a blank screen for an hour and 10 minutes and didn't say anything. I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to eat the whole thing.
So this is a good time to mention that this episode is sponsored by Scoville.com. We're going to talk about them a little bit later in the episode, but the first episode they're sponsored by, it's like, yeah, I sponsored an episode from these guys. They don't know what they're doing. They recorded an episode twice. But Chev's Hot Sauce, it's a Canadian hot sauce company. I'm gonna try the sauce. We're gonna talk about the sauce, but before we do that, a couple things I wanted to mention. A couple weeks ago, the Philly Hot Sauce Show did wrap up, and want to do a shout out to Long Island Pepper Company. We reviewed their Blueberry Reaper sauce last month, I think, and they won the Liberty Bell Best Sauce and Show at the Philly Hot Sauce Show, hosted by Cast Iron Kyle and John from White House Station.
I just opened my bottle last night.
Did you really? Oh yeah, because we split a bottle, and then there was an extra one that we had, wasn't there?
Yep.
So that was fun to see. It's kind of in the same line as like when Sam, which these are two drastically different things, so it's crazy that I'm saying these are kind of the same. But when Sam from Sam Sauce made it to Hot Ones, and I was just like, I know him. We've tried their sauce. I know that this is a good sauce. And then this was like one where I'm like, we tried that sauce, we liked it, and I'm like, I don't think that helped him win this. There was judges at the show, some new, some old from last year's Philly show. Hotbox Philly, who we had Brady from Hotbox Philly on last week, he was there vending at the show, Mammoth Sauce Company, which we're a fan of. So it looked like a fun show. Looked like they had a good turnout there. I talked to a few sauce makers that said, at least, I didn't talk to them day 2, but they said day 1 they did perform better than they did last year, which is great to hear.
Nice.
But we played a game on the original episode of this, on the Lost tape, but I'm not going to ask you that one again. We'll talk about it maybe in another episode. Maybe I'll spend some more time thinking about, so it's a mystery.
It's my one chance to bring back El Camino, and it didn't actually get recorded.
That's the luck of El Camino. El Camino that's the thing. It's just cursed. We'll talk about El Camino in the future. I'm going to save that. I'm not going to hold on to that long. I think it's a fun thing to talk about, but because
Hold on. What I do want to interject. It's something we touched on that I really enjoyed. Who was it that suggested
I think it was either
that we do the
Sam or
hot.
Henry from Hook and Arrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that we do the
Mm-hmm.
competition. So eventually one day we're gonna take El Camino, try it, talk about it, read off the ingredients, and then we're gonna have a contest. We're gonna hand pick who we want to try to replicate
Right
this.
there.
We're gonna have a contest. Who can, should be front and center, but
I mean, front and
it's
center
not
would
much
put it
wall.
right behind my dome. So
Put it right on top of your head.
yeah.
That's where I want to see
The
it. But then have a contest to see who can come as close as possible to that sauce.
I mean, it'd be interesting because it's not a. I mean, I haven't looked at the ingredients probably since you handed it to me, but I don't think it's an outlandish list of ingredients. So it's more about the ratios and the preparation and how you're gonna deal with that. And
Yeah.
honestly, like I don't know what your opinion is on this, but if a sauce maker says I'm gonna take these ingredients, but I think this really could use this extra ingredient that's not in the list, I would love to see them take that sauce and like, hey, I'm gonna craft it up a bit. So
Yeah.
because
I'd be open to
I
that.
mean I think you even admitted he's like it's what would you say it was like a
It's like eating road
yeah
rash.
yeah the road rash, which I'm like it's weird that you're both
It's
you're
very
balancing because you're hyping it up to a way that's like it's really really good, but then you're also using that terminology where I'm like I'm not as intrigued on that one. So
oh you don't eat it and you don't think like pleasant is not a word that comes to mind.
mhm.
It's like that's really vinegary. It's really hot. It's just like chili de arbol and
Yeah,
vinegar is pretty much what it
which isn't
is.
bad.
Like it's pretty rough, but
Yeah.
it's good.
Also, speaking of some underwhelming sauces, I had one of the sauces on this 30 for 30 sauce thing that I'm doing. I tried one that is probably my least favorite of what we have in the studio here. So
Wow.
you'll have to look. They'll have to watch the 30 for 30s to figure out which one that is. But it was hard to be as much as a positive person as I am. It was hard to be positive on that one. It's not. It's not like this is disgusting. Get the, like I still can use it. It's just
Hmm.
the one of the last ones that I would use. So of my collection. So,
Yeah, that's
um,
fun.
but the thing I wanted to, and it's not so much a game, but this was sent to us. So on Buzzsprout that hosts our podcast, they can send in fan mail. People that follow the podcast can send in fan mail. The unfortunate thing is I can't see who sent it. It just says someone from this city has sent a fan mail thing, and I can't reply to it. But someone had a suggestion.
Hmm.
I thought it was a good idea. April Fools was only what a week from today.
Look, we got fan
Yeah,
mail.
we get fan mail.
Since
We get
when?
like
I
I
don't
think
know
we've gotten
about
three
this.
or four fan mail messages. They're more messages than letters, but three or four messages since it came out like 6 months ago. Like every month or two, and
Really?
it might be the same person. Again,
You can afford these on to me.
I mean I'll forward them, but it's more just like one-off suggestions of like, hey, this would be good, or you should talk about this, and I'm like, all right, so I bring it up. Um, but this one was April Fools on for the hot sauce community. There's always the posts of you know that we're gonna switch gears and we're gonna do this, or we're closing down, or hey, this is happening. Like
Truff going out of
yeah,
business.
like they throw some. No, I got the throat thing. They throw something out there, and you have to like you have that initial shock, and then you go to the bottom like April Fools. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna list 5 of the April Fools items that were talked about, and then you can rank which one you like the best to the worst. Not necessarily that you'd like the least, but like the ones that you're like, oh yeah, I would love if that was actually real. And some of them are realistic, some of them are far fetched. So I want you to rank these in what you think is best to like the least interesting to you. They're all good. They're all
Okay.
good. Um, so
Okay.
let me clear my throat here. So the first one is Sam from Sam Sauce announced that he's switching gears. He's getting out of the hot sauce business and he's going to go into making coffee. So Sam Sauce will be a coffee maker for the foreseeable future.
Doesn't seem like an April Fool's
Doesn't
joke.
like, and he even at the end of it, he's like, maybe I am joking. Maybe I'm not. Maybe it's still going to happen. We'll see. And I'm like, this might just be in the works. And he's just prepping people. He's
Hmm.
like, let's see the temperature on April Fools. I can always rescind it.
Yeah, he makes a one drop coffee that's hot sauce flavored.
Dude, you can make like we have a cold brew that's like it's a little bottle that's just like concentrate. You like 1 teaspoon for 80 milligrams of caffeine, 2 teaspoons for 160. So it's like you want a half cup or a
Gee.
full cup of coffee, and you just dilute it into like 12 ounces of water, milk, whatever you want. Red Bull, whatever caffeine you want to do, and
Yeah.
you, and so I could see him making like, hey, this is a concentrated like kick your ass um, coffee syrup that's also infused with heat. I'd love a spicy coffee. That'd be the way to do it. You'd have to make it into a syrup and then.
Hmm.
But so that's one, or that's one of them. Pucker Butt Pepper Company, Ed Curry's company, announced that they are doing pepper extinguishers. So these are to neutralize heat. They are pepper extinguishers.
Okay.
We have Butterfly Baker of Vermont. I said some of these are far fetched. She posted that they have through AI and engineering, they have developed a plant that will produce a fully cooked and bottled hot sauce. And had images of fully bottled hot sauce right on the vine, green,
Hmm.
red, yellow. Secret Aardvark, which we haven't had. I don't know if we've had on the podcast, but we've had Secret Aardvark. It's in grocery
I've had
stores.
it
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
They had a Reaper raspberry baby food that they came out with. So, and then the last one, this is, you got to think outside the box on this one. Ginger Goat announced their new limited run of Swish hot sauce. He said, with Swish hot sauce, they ship you an empty bottle with the remnants of a hot sauce. You fill it with water, shake it up, and you get the fragrance, the elements of hot sauce.
It's disgusting.
So it's Swish. It's just a light. I think they did something similar
Oh,
last year because they did mention like, hey, you loved it last year, so we're bringing it back.
even if so, I do it with pasta
Hmm.
sauce. Like it's like the Rouse
Which
Raos,
which I'm not a
whatever it's
fan of
called.
that one. I know it's good. People say it's
Yeah.
great. I'm not a fan.
I like it just because there's not a lot of ingredients in it. It's just like tomato,
Sure.
basil, garlic. Um, Even if the recipe calls for it, I'll still swish it around in there and dump it in. It just grosses me out to see it that diluted. So I'm gonna put that one as my least favorite.
I mean,
Um,
ingenious from a marketing and like profitability standpoint. But yeah, but that's fine.
Debatable. Debatable. What was the other one?
I mean, there was four other ones.
Yeah, what
You
were the other
had
four?
Sam's Coffee, Pucker Butts Extinguishers, Butterfly Bakery Engineered Bottles, and then Baby Food Reaper from Secret Aardvark.
Pretty much in the order you just said.
So like coffee first, or
Flip flop
okay,
it.
so baby food first,
Yeah.
engineered plant bottled plants second, pepper extinguishers, Sam's Coffee, which is probably again could be a very real thing, and then ginger goat swish.
Yes. That one just gives me the willies. I
They
don't
should
like that.
if they're calling it swish, they got to name it. They got to get it sponsored by like Ray Allen or Reggie Miller, where it's just like,
Reminds me of holes. Sploosh.
oh, yeah, you ruined it. Okay, we can move on from that. Um, so one honorable mention, I didn't include it just because it is a little bit different than the rest of them. Stanky Sauce posted a fake one that Stanky Sauce is sponsoring the Living with the Land boat ride at Epcot. So they announced this big partnership that they're going to be a part of Epcot, and that was an April Fool's one. But that one you can't purchase like that one. You'd have to go there and it'd be sponsored. But that was a
Yeah.
fun one.
Next year we gotta dive into the history of April Fool's pranks gone wrong. Like, what's the legality behind being like, oh yeah, we partnered with Epcot? Like,
I don't know. I mean, it's all about stirring up controversy. That's how you get trendy. So yeah, but
yeah,
what was the biggest April Fool's joke that went awry?
yeah,
That'd be a good one.
just went too far. Someone died, got in a lot of legal trouble, stuff like that.
I would be interested to find out that one. So, but no. So that was the April Fool's jokes. I thought that was a good reprieve from our other conversation point that we had. Oh, also because it's already happened, and I need to get with Roddy on this. We had multiple people say platypus on the last episode comment, and so somebody's getting a
Oh
free
really?
bottle of hot sauce
That's
because Roddy
funny.
threw that out there. The the
You know
What's
what?
that?
I totally forgot about that because I watched one of the videos. I saw someone commented
Mhm.
platypus, and I'm like, what is this Joker talking about
Yeah,
right now? Why? I was like waiting for a platypus joke, and there I'm like, I think we recorded that one at like 10 o'clock at night. I don't
Roddy
remember
even
that.
admitted he's like, I don't remember a lot of what happened on that episode, And even when I was editing it up and I saw right before he said it, I saw his mind. He was just like, platypus. And I'm like, it was just locked in. And he's like, this is what I'm going to do. And I was like, okay, cool. I mean, sounds like a plan. That's a good one to use. But um, yeah, so congratulations on the free bottle of hot sauce. I believe it was Clark from Scoville who was sponsoring this episode. I think he listened and commented first. But we had a few people.
I think
I
that's who I
think
saw.
two or 3 hours after Clark commented, there was a couple more people that commented, and I'm like, man, they must have scrambled. But just like, oh my gosh, I got to get on there. So, all right. So before we get into our lovely sauce that we definitely haven't tried already, me technically twice because I tried it at the show as well. We're going to hear a quick word from our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Scoville.com, the ultimate destination for hot sauce lovers. How many sauces do you think Scoville carries on their website, Mike?
375.
Okay. I'm a little underselling here. 70 different small batch makers across the country on his website. So that's the makers. There are several varieties of sauces within that.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm probably not that
You
far
probably
off.
are not, because I know a couple of brands that he carries the full lineup of. So if you think, only a couple sauce makers have a few sauces, there's actually quite a few. But the thing that I like on Scoville, because we've gotten a package from them before that we actually reviewed a couple sauces, they have the hot sauce subscription box where you can pick the heat, the flavor, the food pairings that you want in your box. You can customize it, and you can get 1 or 3 bottles delivered every month. And right now, they're actually, if you go to Scoville.com and you use the code TheHeatSource for 50% off your first month, you can get that discount on the first month using the Heat Source coupon code, 50% off on that first month subscription. And that's a specially curated box each month with your personal preferences. So it's a pretty awesome deal.
It's a good deal. That's a really good deal.
I mean, a lot of subscription boxes will do where, hey, you get a subscription. I know there's some companies where it's like, hey, you just subscribe to the same sauces, but this is someone that's actually doing some of the heavy lifting for you to find a variety of sauces within your preferences, because I know that if I just were sending random sauces to people, I might burn them out too hot if I'm not thinking of what their preference and tolerance and things are. So that's, again, Scoville.com, the sponsor of this week's episode. All right, let's get into the Chev's hot sauce that I still have a bottle here. You already downed. So I'm going to try this again, and then we'll talk through it. Reimagine that you're trying this sauce right now.
Yeah. I'm going to watch you do it.
Where did my spoon go? Might have to drink this the old-fashioned way. Oh, there it is. All right, so again, this is Chev's hot sauce. This is based in Ontario, Canada. So this was a sauce company that I saw at Goat Fest, the Ginger Goat hot sauce show that is paired with Oktoberfest. And they've been doing it for 2 years now. Their third year is happening this year. And I'm hoping, it's a one-day event typically, so I'm hoping that I'm able to go to it again this year. So I'm going to try this sauce again. You've already tried it. We talked about how the heat is that like perfect medium level heat where it's nice and warm. Yeah. So when you downed it, did you eat it with anything else, or did you just tortilla chips?
I actually split it with Courtney. I was like, Courtney, you got to try this one. And
you did say you would give her a bite. You split it with her though?
I did.
Wow.
I felt bad because she's been having a hard time finding something that hits right lately as far as food goes. She took one smell of that. She's like, okay, that smells pretty good.
How was the heat for her with her food stuff right now?
Oh, she liked it. Her tolerance is like, it's a couple notches below mine, but it's not far off from mine. She likes hot.
So this is a hot where you could smother this, and you're not going to be like just a complete mess, but you're going to be toasty. Like it's nice and warm, like in the back of the throat. I'm not going to react from having too much of this.
Yeah. It's like a hefty medium. It's like the perfect temperature to just eat a lot of it. You're not going to get burnt out on it if you like heat. But it's enough to satisfy. My big suggestion with that, because they nailed the flavor so so much
Hmm.
on that as far as butter chicken goes, from my very white perspective. Um, Grill up your chicken, saute it, whatever you want
Okay.
to do, and just use that hot sauce as the butter chicken sauce.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
Like it's like the full. I think it mentioned you get like the Campbell's packs of flavoring where it's like you just cook up your noodles and your
Hmm.
meat. You just add the Campbell's pack of sauce. To me, that's like all that is. Like it's the perfect butter chicken sauce, ready to go. Cover it, rice chicken. It's a full meal.
So, and we talked about this on the last time we tried to record this episode. That extra virgin olive oil in it definitely makes it more velvety than your normal hot sauce. It's much smoother.
Yeah, it's very smooth. Yeah.
Something that I've been doing lately, because my kids will eat, they eat plain pasta, pasta with butter, pasta with Parmesan cheese. But we get a lot of cooked pasta that goes in the fridge, and they never want to see it again until it's tossed or I eat it. Then suddenly they want more pasta. Once it goes in the fridge as
Mhm.
leftovers, it's dead to them. I've just been taking leftover pasta and throwing a different hot sauce, depending on what it is. Like, not every sauce. Like, I'm not taking a taco hot sauce and throwing it in with penne pasta. I'm not a monster. I have Italian people in my family that I need to, hopefully still let me in their house. But
Dude, that does sound good. Taco sauce on
it
penne.
probably would be good. But I'll just throw it on leftover pasta. I'll just throw a different hot sauce in there, and it's really good. I started it when the OG sauce from Galacticobo, which is a very red wine vinegar Roma tomato based sauce. Started doing with that, but this one I would do with almost a shorter, either like a macaroni or cavatappi or what's the real small? I don't know if I have leftover.
Oh,
What's the small ones? It's like looks like
it's like
yeah,
Ditini or something like that.
Didalinelli or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
God, that's good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or just leftover rice, quinoa, anything like
Rice
that.
and
That'd be
quinoa
really
is
good.
good. So this one, the ingredient list, we mentioned extra virgin olive oil, white vinegar, extra virgin olive oil, garlic, onion, red pepper, habanero pepper, sea salt, uh, Arvindis butter chicken spice, which is coriander, cumin, chili powder, turmeric, fresh garlic, fresh ginger, and sea salt. So again, not overly complicated flavorings, but that seasoning blend is really what's doing that. The extra virgin olive oil, I think, are some key elements to this. It's not
Hmm.
terribly acidic for being a vinegar sauce. Like, it's very well balanced. Obviously, the classic would be chicken. I would, instead of the classic kind of like kid getting a plate of chicken tenders with like honey mustard or ketchup, replace your honey mustard with this bad boy and just dip your chicken tenders in there.
That
It's like,
or just toss wings in it.
or toss
That'd be
wings.
really good. Just toss
But just
wings.
think of like someone being like you still get chicken tenders, yeah, but I dip it in butter chicken habanero sauce. So who's classy now? But
Show them.
it's such a really good smooth sauce. We have a few other sauces from them that I got when I was at Goat Fest, so we'll definitely crack into more. But this was one, when I saw this one, I'm like, well, I can't not. You've mentioned butter chicken. I don't know how many times over the 3 years we've been doing this. So I'm like, I can't
Hmm.
not get the butter chicken hot sauce. It's the opposite of it's the opposite side of the spectrum of excitement when I saw that there was a black bean sauce from Palm and Acre, and I'm like, well, I can't not, you know, leave this one on the table. I've got to try it and see what it is. Which, by the way, I had that in Albuquerque, and it's delicious.
I'll take your word for it. That's disgusting. Don't come near me.
One day you're gonna try it. That's when we hit a certain milestone on the Patreon. It'll be like, hey, if you hit this level, Mike will try a black bean hot sauce.
I would consider that. If we can hit a certain amount on Patreon,
Yeah.
I will face my second worst fear for you guys.
There is a hot sauce made of ants, so we're also really close to getting to your first worst fear.
I will take 2 bottles of that over 1 spoon of black bean sauce. That's
What if there
disgusting.
is there's a spicy seasoning blend, but it also is ground up tarantula, which I know is like the tarantulas that people have on videos where people have had to eat a tarantula. I always hear that it's so dusty.
Oh, I saw one video one time. It was literally like a wooden crate. You know, like in Michigan in the fall, you always see apple
Hmm.
crates. They're like giant pallet looking things topped off with apples.
Hmm.
So it was like Indonesia, something like that. They had dumped one of those with a forklift, and it was just full of tarantulas. But they did it into this giant wok
Oh, jeez.
and just fried up a ton of tarantulas, and people were just smashing them. Dude, I about passed out.
Throw in a little hot Cheeto dust, and then you got me.
Oh,
You mentioned Apple Crate. I thought of, so we've mentioned several times on the podcast my love of the NBA. I thought of a really nerdy shirt to get that only I would appreciate, but it'd be a really funny joke. I know you're limited in your basketball knowledge other than what we've discussed, but you are familiar with Darko Milicic from the Pistons, right?
No.
Darko Milicic was the player drafted second overall behind LeBron James when the Pistons had the number 2 pick the year that they won the title. They could have drafted Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, all Hall of Famers. They drafted Darko Milicic, a Serbian, 18-year-old Serbian kid that had a boatload of potential and didn't amount to... He played 12 years in the league, but he was never anything close to an all-star.
Okay. Did he flop at all?
He never saw the court, so he never had a chance.
Less than LeBron.
Potentially, yeah. But he was with the Pistons for a couple years, didn't do anything, went to a couple other teams, fizzled out, had a one game kickboxing career in Serbia, fought, then he moved on, and then there was a ESPN 30 for 30 documentary about him where he is now a Serbian apple farmer over in Serbia. He's growing.
No way, really?
He's got an apple, like 125 acre apple orchard, and he at least a couple years ago said his next venture is he wants to also get into growing cherries.
Dude, that's awesome. How do you do that?
I mean,
So,
he made
hold
over
on,
he made
like,
over $50 million in his career, so I think that probably helped.
He made $50 million in his career and he didn't do anything.
Yeah, he played for 10 or 12 years, so you divide that out. I've told you what the average NBA salary is.
Hold on. You just said he was just a total flop, didn't do anything, but he played for 12 years?
A flop in the sense that he was drafted number 2 overall in a stacked draft, and he started in half of the games that he played in his career, but he never was probably more than the second to worst player on the court in that starting 5. Potentially he was the worst player. But he's 7 feet tall and can block shots.
Okay.
So, but the thing that I thought was interesting, because like people that are fans of sports, the big thing is you get jerseys, you get, the t-shirts that just have, I'm wearing a Detroit Lions t-shirt right now. You get that kind of stuff. I like to wear the thing where they're like, what is that? And then they find out through the explanation of the shirt what you're a fan of. I wanted to get a t-shirt of his apple orchard farm, of like whatever the brand is, and get a t-shirt. And then people go like, oh, that's a cool, like, what is that shirt? I'm like, oh, it's a Serbian apple orchard. It's like, why Serbian? I'm like, Darko Milicic owns it. And they're like, the basketball player, the Pistons player that like was a bust.
I can promise you no one other than your twin brother you don't know about would be like, oh, the Pistons
I made a
player.
joke about me having a twin brother earlier today. Interesting.
Did you?
While I was at work.
You know what I thought about? It's funny. I actually thought about this today. If I get caught doing a podcast, and it's been people like, because you're now putting these on the internet.
They've been
like
on the internet.
The video,
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
The video. If someone's like, oh my God, was that you? It'd be like, it's twin brother. Like, he's a weird dude.
Yeah, it's
But I almost got caught this weekend. My two brothers.
I want to hold on before you start and finish the story. I'm promoting this podcast.
Well, I was talking to Courtney about this. I'm not hiding anything.
Okay.
At this point, I just want to see how long it takes my family to organically find out I'm doing this. I'm like, I'm not hiding it.
I mean, your mom
like,
already follows us on Instagram, so she knows.
Does she
I
actually?
don't know what your mom's Instagram is. I doubt.
I don't think she has Instagram.
Parents at that age, unless they're getting an Instagram account to specifically follow something that they want, they're not on Instagram just for the fun of it. My parents have an Instagram account.
If you didn't have one, it'd be to like follow the grandkids.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've got a little grow operation going for my
for the peppers
vegetable garden this year.
Yeah.
And I brought my brothers down here to show them. And my little brother saw this microphone sitting there. And he goes, dude, do you have a podcast? And I go, no, a coworker gave me that. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But
So, okay, here's where my sticking point to that. You said, I want to see how long this can go before they find out. But you asked a direct question. You asked a direct question, a very specific one.
Well, he did, but also like I've worn my heat source shirt, and they walk up and they're like, "What is the heat source?" I'm like, "I got it with a bottle of hot sauce that I bought." They're like, "Oh, cool."
Okay. Okay. I mean, if you're ashamed of me, that's cool. That's cool. No big deal.
I'm not ashamed of you.
I'm
I This is about me, Matt. Don't make this about you.
okay. Yeah. No big deal. Is this why I haven't been invited to any other functions over your house since this is really like picked up steam? Because you're like, Matt's gonna show up with just full on heat source, stickers, business cards.
So you've been invited, I think, to two functions in my lifetime.
I've been to one.
I would say that.
Have I been to two? I went to
Have you
the
been to
baby
one?
shower.
Oh, you
Yeah, I
did.
went to that one. But I was, I mean,
Okay, you've been invited to like three.
okay,
Dude, that puts you in like the 98th percentile for people in my life that's not family that's gotten invited to one of my events. I'm just a private person
yeah.
and I don't really care to have people there. Like I could sit at my own birthday party with no one there and be totally fine.
Do you think that um, there's a certain like is there's a certain spot between when we started 3 years ago and let's say over the next 5+ years? Is there a spot? Do you think that they would be more angry or upset versus like, oh, that's fun? Like, you don't think that there's a spot where they're gonna be like, you've been doing this for 5 years, 3 years? Like, 3 years is a long time.
They're not. They wouldn't get
Okay.
mad. They'd just be like, "Well, why didn't you tell us?" Be like, "I don't know. Same reason I don't tell you guys anything. I'm not hiding it. You just didn't ask." They're like, "Well, why would we ask about your annual physical?" Like, I don't know. You
All
didn't
right.
ask.
You do you,
Yeah.
man. My dad.
When they do find out, though, our listener base is gonna like double or triple.
So
There's like
I
whole six
definitely
of
will
them in
know
my
when
family.
your family finds out because probably our downloads for that week, it's gonna be like someone just downloaded every episode of your podcast to go listen to it, and it's like, well, that's I think we have 125 episodes maybe because our 100th episode was with Brian, Brian Ams.
Hmm.
So yeah, so we have some insane number that if like five people all just download the whole podcast and like all right, it's like, dude, we got 600 downloads like in a day. Like what happened?
I wouldn't get your hopes up too much. I have the world's smallest family. I have like
Okay,
a cousin and a half, and that's about it.
all right.
Yeah.
I'll live my dream there. That the boom of three people listening to the podcast will have that. But
It's just funny at this
I am
point.
curious to see when it officially comes out that
You want to know what's really funny about
what.
it though? They all absolutely love hot sauce.
See, that's why I think if my sister, told me, "Hey, I've been, doing this thing on the side where I'm like writing, reviews for hot sauce on a blog," I'd be like, "You haven't told me, like, I like hot sauce." Like I know, like
Hmm.
there's like we have a certain friend of ours that I know that like when they go, "You are doing this with hot sauce," and I love spicy food, and you didn't share that with me, like the amount of sauce that
Yeah.
could be shared. I have a couple buddies that are like
At,
I have one that's gonna trade me open bottles of hot sauce that I try that I don't have space for signed basketball cards because he got a bunch of them.
at this point, it's kind of on them though, because I went to my fridge. My brother's like, "What do you got as far as new hot sauce?" He just knows I always have a constant flow of
Yeah,
hot sauce. So I open the fridge and I've got like 20 bottles of regular bottled hot sauce, and I've got probably 10 little ball
yeah,
jars, like you'd get weed in a little glass jar. Where I
allegedly.
pull it out and I started dumping that out. My brother's like, "Is that safe? Like, where did that come from?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it came from a regular hot sauce
Yeah,
bottle." But I had like 10 of them in there, so it just looked really suspicious. And they're labeled with sticky notes.
I mean you could really mess with him and be like, "Oh, these are some sauces I've been tinkering with," and then just like pour him a little bit of butter chicken hot sauce. He's like, "Dude, you need to bottle this."
Yeah.
Um,
I told him I had a dealer, and that was he's like, "Oh okay."
yeah, just drops it
And
off at the
then
front step like the
yeah,
milkman.
I was gonna give my nephew. He's like, "Give me the hottest one you have," and I think I had wild berry whoop
That's
ass,
a good one.
and I was gonna give him that, and I took one little bite, and I was like, "No, I'm your mom's gonna
I
kill
got
me
another
if I
one
do that."
that'll kick them on their heels. The unique garlic from Ed Curry. I opened that one up. That one had me
Sounds
crying a
good.
bit. So, all right, let's get back on track here. The Chev's hot sauce. You've eaten the whole bottle before the episode because we already did the episode once. So
as I've been watching you eat this, you know, like when you are about to eat like a warhead or something like that, and your jaws start like
Yeah,
salivating. I've actually been salivating watching you just sit there and smash that bottle. Where I'm like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have torn
it's
through
really good.
mine as fast
As much
as
as
I
I
did.
want to try this on food, I am enjoying doing this a second time, just being able to try the sauce. I do want to mention, because I
Hmm.
didn't mention it at the start, uh, Chev's Hot Sauce .co. That's Chev's Hot Sauce .co. That's CHEVS hot sauce. Um, Also, just a little bit about this brand. There wasn't a whole lot of background online. There wasn't a whole lot of content. I don't know. I looked through their Instagram and I saw some interesting stuff. I mentioned to you when we previously recorded that they had this sauce on chicken wings at a market. I think it's Getty Street Market. In their hot bar, they had this sauce smothered on chicken wings, which if the local grocery store here had this as an option instead of like their overly sweet orange chicken or their General Tso version that doesn't have any heat, I would be losing a lot of money to that. So that was really
Yeah.
cool. This company just started back in 2023 with the flavors of the butter chicken habanero, chipotle ghost, crimson creeper, and then the hot honey habanero, which sounds all of those sound great. I don't know which one.
Hmm.
I'm not sure which one we have as the additional sauce, so I'll have to see about that one. But he did mention when I told him that we were going to be trying this sauce, he did mention two new flavors were coming. Creeping Death. He said this one is not for the faint of heart. It will blow your head clean off. And a lot milder sauce, the Black Garlic Teriyaki. Hoping for a mid-summer launch for those sauces. So keep an eye out for those sauces as well. And hopefully they're at Goat Fest again because I'd love to. I don't know. Last year I went there. I drove in the morning, right when they opened. Was there for like 5 hours, but then I left a couple hours before it finished. I would have liked to have a little bit more time to like interview and talk to people there. And now that we have kind of the setup where we can do actual legit interviews with microphone and camera and the whole thing, hopefully I'll be able to talk to some of these makers next year or this year, assuming Goat Fest is still on track. I know there was another Canadian show earlier in the year that they're still kind of waiting to see if it's gonna work, if they think they're gonna have the traffic that they need to run it. So hopefully, I know Goat Fest is tied to the Kitchener, Ontario Oktoberfest, which is the largest Oktoberfest outside of Germany. So they do have a pretty solid backing of it's not just about hot sauce; it's also about beer, and you can get $100 tattoo
Yep.
uh,
And
within an hour.
oysters.
And always, dude, the oysters were dirt cheap. That's what I'm bringing my money for. Is I'm like, just give me $30 worth of oysters, and I'll be happy as a clam.
Yeah. Uh,
I was gonna say it. And I'm
did you
like, oh,
this has got to be a photo without context. Did you see the new minor league baseball team logo that's going around out
yeah,
there? You got to
yeah. I'll
post it.
post that one.
It's
They
so
knew what they were
beautiful.
doing.
They knew exactly what they were doing, and it is the best thing I've ever
Um,
seen.
so, a question for you: we did fun facts for this episode previously. Do we discuss those fun facts again since they didn't get airtime, and we want to share those facts? Okay,
Absolutely.
it's just less
Absolutely.
inquisitive because you had asked me a question and I had to guess at something that now I know at least the number. I don't know if I remember any of the names, um, but I'm going to mention mine. So I went with the Ontario. The fact this is from Ontario, I did an Ontario fact where Ontario holds the largest escape room, I think, in the world. It's at least in
Hmm.
the continental, or not continental, but in North America. Not yet the continental United States, if Trump has his way. But John Diefenbaker commissioned the construction of a bunker to protect key members of the government in the event of a nuclear war. The bunker now hosts the largest escape room in the world. There we go. With an area of 25,000 square feet. So this will be a photo without context where
Yeah.
25,000 square feet. I think this is the pinnacle of my nightmare where it's like,
Now is it?
well,
Sorry, is it like an open floor plan? Or like, what does this place look like?
I will have to
Is it
find some more photos.
200
I saw
rooms?
one photo that was very open, but I don't know if
Okay.
there's other compartments. I'd have to think if it's an escape room, unless it's just purely the escape room is you're stuck in this open bunker, figure it out, and maybe they put just
Yeah.
like boxes or different puzzles along the way that you have to like unlock. But I would hope that there's a little bit more like going through certain. The only other
Hmm.
escape room that would terrify me more because I am a claustrophobic person. Not so much about like the tightness of space, but just knowing if I can't get out or if I am trapped in a way. Similar to your wet T-shirt coming off of the head issue. It's very much very
That's I think
similar.
it's more of suffocation.
It's probably a
That
suffocation
that
thing.
one
Yeah.
that one just
The
bothers me. Like I can do tight spaces, wet t-shirts. I
the
panic.
only other escape room that I would be even more actively fighting against would be if there was an escape room in a active submarine, where it's like, hey, you go in the submarine, it drops down, whether it's simulated that you go underwater or it actually goes underwater, and then I already
Hmm.
know from seeing different things about it, where like in submarines, like you have to step into each doorway, and it's very tight and it's very shorter, and it's like it would feel like I'm going into that Willy Wonka room that just slowly gets smaller and smaller as you walk in,
Yeah,
even if it's
right.
not. That would be my
That's
my
funny.
nightmare.
I've never been on a sub, but I've been on like freighters. The Great Lakes has a handful of freighters that you can like go hop on
Hmm.
and just spend time on the ship.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of like you were talking about, where it's just like a little steel shoulder width door that you got to duck
Nope.
through.
Nope.
There's absolutely zero give in it, so it's just very rigid.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Have you ever seen? Oh, it's that movie with Bill Paxton in it. Is it? It's not
U
UB40.
five
That's the
seven one.
singer. U571, where that kid's got to turn the valve off
I
at
know
the
it's
end.
got Bon Jovi in it. That's the only thing I remember from that. And I think,
Oh, it does have
does it have
him in it.
McConaughey?
Yeah. Um, it
Hmm.
might. I know it's Bill Paxton, and then there's another big name in there.
Okay. I feel like it's McConaughey,
But
but I haven't. Yeah.
anyways, that kid's got to swim back in like through the pipes and shut the valve off to stop the
Yeah.
leak. Do you remember that?
I don't honestly remember if I've seen the whole movie or if it's just my parents had that DVD and they would watch it from time to time while I was in the
Yeah.
house.
That's one of like the most claustrophobic scenes I've ever seen because he can't reach
Yeah.
it, and he realizes I can squeeze through here, but I'm gonna have not enough
Yeah,
breath to
it's
get
the
back.
thing where if I
So
breathe in or if I exhale, I can slide through and then inflate.
yeah,
Ugh, no. I think we talked about that on the last episode too. The
we did.
algorithm.
Yeah. Which I don't mind caves. I don't like the ones when you send me when you're like, hey, this is the 30th video I've seen of this. Like someone got stuck upside down in a cave. I don't
Yeah.
like that. But I've been cave diving before, and I didn't have a problem with it at all.
Huh.
I liked it. It was quiet and peaceful down there. No one to
No,
bother me.
no, no. I'm good. I've seen enough of them now where at least. So my thing is, at least that I've seen the videos, it's like I now have no excuse or reason to not avoid that. Because it's like if someone's like, "Hey, let's just go in this cave, let's do a little exploring." I'm like, "Oh, what's the worst could happen?" But then if they're like, "All right, so I'm gonna lead because I'm the biggest person, so if I can fit, everyone else can fit." I'm like, if that's a sentence coming out of your mouth, I am not going in there. If we're like quantifying the spaces, or if it's like, "Hey, you go underwater here, and there's a tunnel that leads to," like, nope, nope, nope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
You'd be surprised what you can fit through. Like when we were on that cave tour, there's a hole in the ground, maybe that
Yeah,
big,
I have no.
and I mean, you can get through it. But there was two people on the tour, and they weren't big people. But the tour guy pulled them aside, and he goes, "Hey, you're not gonna fit."
Yeah,
Like they were just, I guess, your average like hefty American, like not fat by
sure.
any means, but not
Yeah,
skinny. And the tour guy was like, "You just won't fit. Like you'll get a full refund. We'll comp you like free whatever tours you want to do. You're not gonna fit on
one
this
of
one."
the biggest motivations for me to gain weight is right there. Is like is the
Safety.
safety of like, hey, nobody's ever going
It's
to be
like
able to
Matt.
talk me into going to that cave when,
Matt, you got to shed some
yeah, after
inches.
like,
And you're
hey,
like, no one
you're
can steal me, and no one can get me stuck in a
like, sir, I
cave.
got to talk to you. You're too large to go into this cave. I'd be like,
Oh,
thank God,
thank God.
yes.
It,
Like it paid off. All those honey buns and Hostess cupcakes finally for a reason for this moment.
dirty bulk.
Yeah,
It's called a dirty
yeah,
bulk. Yeah.
the dirty bulk that's packed with, there's a lot of protein in Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supremes. So they just came out with, they had the Cantina thing. I had one of their Cantina things. It was fine.
Their early cantina menu is fine. I don't like the new one.
The one now they smother it in that red sauce, and the red sauce just isn't very good. Like it's not, it's fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Disappointed in Taco Bell. Come on. I thought you were an authentic American taco place, and now you're throwing this garbage on there. Shots fired.
All
All
right.
right, and your fact.
You ready for? Dude, I love talking about big cats
Mm-hmm.
here. So, you already know this. I'll give them the
Yep.
rundown. So I said, Matthew, we're going to talk about tigers here. How many species of tigers do you
And
think
the reason
live
the
in the world?
reason for the tiger connection, we got to explain the connection.
Oh, tiger connection. So it is a butter chicken
Yep.
sauce. Butter chicken originated from India. If I said, "Hey Matthew, where do tigers hang out?" You'd probably tell me.
Comerica Park.
Besides Comerica, that's number three on the list. Actually, it actually goes India,
Yeah.
Texas, and Comerica
But
Park.
yeah, India.
Which I found interesting. The second largest population of tigers in the world is in Texas, all captive, mostly captive. I'm sure there's a
When
few strays out
when
there.
someone asked the Texas natives like, "Hey, why is the second largest popularity of tigers in Texas?" Their response was, "Because we can. Because we
Yeah.
can."
So you have a lion shirt on right
Yeah.
now. I do. One of the instructors. I I used to be. I don't think I still am. I used to be a certified wildland firefighter. One of my instructors at the time was like, fighting fires in Texas is wild. He's like, you just walk up to like a 12-foot fence. And he goes, we went up to this fence
Hmm.
one time and a guy came out with a gun and held us at gunpoint. He's like, I can't let you in there. He's like, no, this is a federal fire. We're managing this. We got to get in there and put this fire out or contain it. And he goes, no, I can't let you in. There's 12 lions within this fence right now.
Hmm.
He's like, that's just what you run into in Texas. I had another boss who hopped a fence. He's like, I parted this really tall grass. And he's like, I was just face to face with an elephant that was just fenced in this random place in
So
Texas.
with the
So
fire situation with the lions, is it just like either the fire consumes the lions or they survive and just like by luck, like you just can't come in
I'm
there?
sure the lions figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how it
lions
ended,
lions
but
deal
I
with
just know they
forest
weren't
fires all
allowed
the
in with
time.
the
They're
lions.
they're fine.
Yeah.
So
Um, but so my fact is, I said, Matthew, how many different species of tigers are in the world?
and I knew that there were six after you told me.
You originally thought there was
Yeah, I
12.
thought there was 12. Um,
Yeah, which is not a bad guess at
Not my
all.
worst guess.
I was that was much closer than what I thought you were going
Mm.
to be. I was only aware of two at the time, which you said
Bengal and the white Siberian.
Siberians aren't actually white.
Oh, it's just Siberian. What's the
Yeah,
white tiger? That's the one. But the magicians use a white
I
tiger.
think those are like I think those are like not
Oh,
domesticated,
okay.
but I think they're just yeah. But so you got two of
Yep.
them, the Bengal and the Siberian tiger. Hang on, totally
And
unprepared.
liger is not one of them.
Liger is not one of them. Maybe in historic range, ligers were a
Yeah.
thing, but to my knowledge, there are
How
no.
far back do tigers go in history? I mean, I don't know if you know that off the cuff, but like, I mean, they're the descendant of like a saber tooth, aren't they? Or is that am I off? Am I
Mm,
off on that?
you're probably off.
Yeah,
No offense.
they're big cats. Big prehistoric cat.
Here it
Yeah.
is. Okay. So you got Bengal, Siberian. There's Sumatran, Malayan, Indo-Chinese, and South China tigers. There's also two different extinct ones, recently extinct. There's the Caspian tiger and the Havan and Balinese tigers.
The
So alive today, one, two, three, four, five, six different species of tigers, which I was blown away by. I did not know that, and they all look distinctly different, which I was also very surprised
the
by.
um the subspecies of the was it Sumantran? Was that what was that one
Maybe.
of them?
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, there's
Sumatran.
a subspecies that does most of the repopulating. The Kama Sumantran ones are very active.
Very active. They can't keep those ones in zoos.
They have to have multiple
Hard to
states
manage.
between those. They will not be
Do
denied
you know why that's why they don't have bonobo monkeys in
because
zoos?
they just go at it all the time.
Yes.
Hey, love is love, man. In the great words of Jackie Moon, everybody love everybody. ELE.
We had in my high school, we had one of those signs in our football locker room.
Yeah,
It was right above the door, said "Everybody love everybody." Slapped it before every game.
nice. One extra fact I'll throw in there because I did have this prepared for the last episode and I didn't mention it. I did look up. So there's loose history on butter chicken origination. There's a lot of people that claim it. It's kind of like Frank's has the buffalo wings origination that hey, this started an Anchor bar and this, but then other people have tried to claim to it. I did see one
Mm-hmm.
example of butter chicken, and if I find other ones, we can share them if we do other butter chicken based sauces or something that lends it to it. But it says the Delhi based Indian man named Kundan Lal uh, Gujral operated a small restaurant called Modi Mahal. I butchered all of that sentence. Uh, once,
You know what that reminded me of? Hold on. Beer Fest when he goes, I was playing ping pong and ding dang.
yeah, not too far
It's
off.
like the Indian version of that.
But once, when there was too much left over from a batch of tandoori chicken, slow grilled chicken, uh, Kundan decided to randomly pop it into an all tomato based gravy that was cooked in butter. So it was just a leftover thing, similar to like the buffalo wing thing, where it's like, hey, we got to make these wings. We need something to pinch. Grab the sauce, grab the butter. You know,
Yeah, that's cool. I feel like most good things are born that way.
yeah. I mean, a lot of times when I'll make something, I just throw a bunch of random stuff together, and then I'm like, this is good. I don't know if I can replicate it. I've done that with a few different recipes. I made a mac and cheese that Angela says is the best mac and cheese I ever made, and she's this is really good. I'm like, I I don't. I made a roux without the proper measurements. I just kind of threw stuff together. I said the cheese blend. I don't know. There's leftover cheese we had. Threw in some
Yes.
spices. You know.
It's hard to gauge, hard to replicate the 3 day leftovers just sitting in the
Yeah.
fridge.
I have a couple fun. I'm not going to share it on the podcast because I don't want to give away all my secrets. But I have a couple fun recipe ideas I want to try that have not necessarily a straight up hot sauce, but some fun flavor ideas. I want to do some testing of my own before I release it to anybody. Maybe we'll do another episode where we both make a hot sauce or something similar and see what we
We
can.
tried that once.
Yeah, we tried it. It worked. It was a good episode. I don't know if people listened to that one.
Yeah. You should do it again.
I think you were more critical of your sauce than mine, but think yours had some better flavor elements to it than mine because I went pretty by the book.
Mine was vinegars and pepper, and neither of them were blended together. It was distinctly two different things of here's vinegar, here's pepper.
Yours would have been a perfect au jus dipping sauce for like a shredded beef sandwich. Just a spice dollop of a spice
Yeah.
au jus. Well, there's an
Yeah.
idea we'll give out for free. I'll edit that out. That won't make the episode. Uh,
Can't give away.
so no, so this sauce, Chev's hot sauce, butter chicken habanero, um, it's fantastic. It's one that you obviously would use on butter chicken. That's the clear thing. Use it with chips. Use it for dipping sauce. Dip it in chicken tenders. Throw it on a salad if you want. Um, I had my friend of mine that he loves hot sauce. I gave him a couple bottles of something, and he used a bottle fed hot sauce. The green Thai sauce from bottle fed hot sauce. He's been using that in his breakfast food, and I'm like, I've been using that in Asian stuff only. I'm like, I never even thought to put on my breakfast food. So now I look like the idiot. But he's in love with that sauce. He's like, this is so good, man. And I was like, there's a lot more out there that I can share with you. So we'll see what he says on that. But this sauce, the heat on this, 2 out of 5. I mean, we talk about the different levels. That's where it's kind of, it's there, but it's not. You're not reacting. You're not sweating. You're not, you know, in a bad spot with a good pain or bad pain. So I think the heat on there is a 2. For our score, I had this as a 91.
I had a
Yeah,
91 as
one
well.
of our higher scores. We don't do
Very
a
good
lot
stuff.
of 90s. I mean, we have a handful. I do have to go back. It's one of my data entry tasks I need to give myself is just going through episodes and just getting the scores. I wish I should have hindsight. I should have put chapters in the episodes where it's like, here's what the score is, and I could just click fast forward to that.
I feel like that's something I need to do. Kind of like purgatory for Michael is go through and compile all the scores we've ever
If
done.
you told 5 of your family members, you could have them each take a batch and then fill it in, and then you wouldn't have to worry about it. But that's the sauce again. Chevshotsauce.com or .co. Chev's Hot Sauce on .co on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or X. That's the question. So it's called X, but is it still a tweet if you send it out? Like if you send a tweet?
I've heard people ask that. I've never heard an answer before.
Because what's the equivalent to X? Send an X. I mean, usually when you send an X, you get in trouble.
Post,
Um,
and you just call it a
that's
post.
so vanilla. Um, so anyway, that's where you can find that sauce. That was a weird, very aggressive. So vanilla.
Very critical of this.
But you can check out their sauce again. It's an Ontario-based sauce company. Um, but special thank you to them for just got to talk to them at Goat Fest a little bit, and letting us try their sauce and returning my messages when I told them we were going to try the sauce, and thank you for their patience because that was October of last year that we got that sauce. I always feel bad when it's like, hey, we're finally trying that sauce, and everyone's been real kind and patient with, yeah, we get it. Like, you have a lot of sauce. It's like, okay, cool.
Appreciate it. We're out of business now.
Well, that's the thing is we had Ruthless Reaper.
We have a graveyard
Ruthless
going.
Reaper was a sauce company. We did a handful of their sauces, but we still have a couple more. And he stopped. He's taking a step back. He didn't say he's done forever, but he's just not doing it for right now. And I'm like, we got through a lot of his sauce, but he had like 5 or 6 sauces, and so it's hard to get through unless we just do like, here's an episode where this is the one episode and you get all your sauces done, which we could change that format. If someone thinks that's a better way to do it, send a message in the fan mail that Mike definitely knows about. And then congratulations to Long Island Pepper Company for their win at the Philly show. Also, a special thank you again to Scoville.com. Again, the heat source coupon code will get you 50% off your first month of your subscription box. But Scoville.com, again, you can. The big thing with a lot of the hot sauce companies, and it's understandable, like if you want to get a variety of sauces, we talked about this at the episode last week. If you want to get a variety of sauces, you have to go to these individual websites, or if they run through Amazon, which I know a lot of them try not to do, you can batch them in that way. But other than going to a hot sauce show and getting a bunch of sauces, Scoville.com is a way that you can get a variety of sauces from different brands all in one, whether you choose it or you have the subscription box. So Scoville.com, again, that's a Michigan-based company too. So our first official sponsor, we did a small sponsorship with them. We did like a giveaway with them previously, but our first,
It was funny. They're Michigan based. First time I ever met him was in Illinois.
yeah, first time I heard about him was when we used to do the hot sauce summits. He was on there, and that's where I met him. And then it was like, oh, they're in Michigan. Like, they're an hour.
Do they still do those or no?
No, they kind of fizzled out. So the person that ran it, he stopped doing the hot sauce thing, I think, or at least didn't do it wasn't trying to upscale it. Maybe did it more for local markets in Hawaii because he was based in Hawaii. And then the other ones, like, there was talk that they could take over, but it kind of ran its course for what it was. It had to change in some way, and it never did. I think it either had to minimize.
Wasn't very COVID driven.
And that was the thing too. It was COVID driven, and it was a great way to get. There was a lot of networking connection that was built there, and those bonds and connections are still. I mean, Sam, Roddy, Hook and Arrow. Oh man, there's a couple that I already. Hot Sauce Realm. Clark from Scoville. There's quite a few of them on there that I'm like, oh, I know these people first from that, and then, it branched from there. But I think if it happens in the future, it'd have to either be fewer times a year, because doing it once a quarter was a little bit much, trying to coordinate all that stuff for people that are also trying to run their businesses. And the other thing is, it'd be nice if there was a in-person element. Like if it was tied to a hot sauce show where it's like, hey, the day before a hot sauce show, we're going to do like a small summit, and we're going to have a speaker, and we're going to do a little bit of networking. Kind of like what Albuquerque does the trade show day, where it's like, hey, this is when people are wheeling and dealing wholesale, like trying to get stuff going. It's like, but instead of it being about the sauce makers kind of getting badgered for wholesale deals, it's actual like training or development or something to help them build their business. So I'd love to see it happen, and I would love to be just a fly on the wall of those type of discussions for hot sauce makers. But yeah, it's been, I think that's 2 years now that I don't think it's been going for, it wasn't happening last year. So that's disappointing, but everyone's very busy with, their businesses. But yeah. And then, other than that, thank you again for listening. However you listen, we do appreciate you. If you want to support the podcast and gain additional perks, feel free to check out our Patreon. The link is in our Instagram account. The link is in the bio. Whether you join or not, we do appreciate you for listening. Also, if you'd like to sponsor an episode, send us a message at theheatsourcepod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at the Heat Source Podcast for all updates. Tune again next week when we try a new sauce. And I'm thinking we might have to crack open another new brand. I think we got to start a trend here, get a couple new brands open, and then we can do a Lollapalooza of just a bunch of sauces. Maybe
Yeah, we got to do a marathon episode, like a gauntlet episode, and just tear through
I
them.
think when we can arrange it for you to be in studio, we'll do a palooza, which is like we're just gonna burn through a bunch of episodes or burn through a bunch of
Dude,
sauces.
once I get my truck back, I'm pretty sure that truck doesn't exist anymore, but I'm like Kenny from Where the Millers, just waiting for his mom to come home, and his mom's been gone for like three
Well,
weeks. My truck's been in the shop for almost 4 months
well,
now.
they're still trying to work with customs to get the plutonium from the Iranians for the flux capacitor and that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. A lot of
A lot
paperwork.
of paperwork to deal with that. So,
A lot of paperwork.
all right, but yeah, we'll try some new sauces. Eventually we'll get a Palooza episode. But if you have any suggestions of other ideas for episodes, let us know. But until then, we will see you next week. But here we go. All right. And again, this is video, so it's going to be on YouTube. Full transparency.
I don't like that.
It's way better. It gives us
I liked it better when you did it in plain sight behind my back.
just get a cartoonist to animate an image of you, and I'll animate just so it looks like your mouth is moving from like the still.
Just wear a ski mask.
Yeah, you if you want, I'll digitize your face the whole time. It'll be fine. It's just
Like the black bar over
well,
the
your
eyes.
light usually turns off. Just turn off the light, do like a little bit of backlight, and it's just and we'll distort the voice, and then it's
Just look like a floating
yeah,
beard.
it'd be
and
one where it's
eyebrows.
like you're a witness protection person. It's like hey, Mike did want to be on the podcast. He did witness a murder, so he is in hiding somewhere in or outside
Random
of the
triangle.
states, the continental United States. It's fine.
That's my roommate Edward. Snowden.
Yeah, exactly. Be like, Snowden, shut up! I'm trying to record a podcast here. That guy.